Because death and life are in the power of your tongue. And even this morning when I was talking to my grandkids, I wanted to be careful for how I shared with them, because I realized there's some things that I have spoken in my son's life that have had an adverse effect to it, because I didn't know how to handle it. And somebody say that God now is bringing us to a place where we have got to deal with those things. So every last one of us have it. My mom used to, when she used to get upset with us, she would always say things like, I'm going to run away. You know, if y'all don't cut this out, I'm going to run away. So what do? We live with this fear of, oh my God, Pat Jr., stop. Come on, I'm going to run away. And then who will take care of us? Right? And so now you're at this place where that's a fear, because you're thinking like, if you don't act a certain way, is something going to leave you?
Right.
Okay? Just tell your neighbor traumatic experience. And so what's happening with us is we're acting out those experiences.
Wow.
And so this next few weeks, and we started where the scripture says, cast down your imaginations. We want to deal with those things. We want to at least give us an ability to recognize, to know that those things exist. Whether we do something about it right now or not, they exist. Okay. All right. And so now there's this word that the Lord has given us where he wants us to disrupt the patterns that are in our mind, because he wants us to choose another thought. And I want to deal with this thing called passive aggression. But I want to deal with it. This first time that word even came into existence was after World War I. And the reason that it came to existence is because what they found was that some of the soldiers were rebelling against authority, and they had to try to figure out what this behavior was. And the reason that they came up with passive aggression, because they realized that these soldiers were going against what the authority had told them. And so therein lies where we have this kind of passive aggression. This passive aggression is something that comes in stages. You know, you can be one person and you may be at a stage where you don't like dealing with conflict. That's passive aggressive, right? Or you could be at a stage where you sabotage yourself. That's passive aggressive behavior, yeah. Or you could be at a stage where you are engaging in aggressive behavior, but you're saying, I'm only doing this because of what you did to me. That's what anybody. I'm sorry, y'all, but listen. So that's where we are, and I just wanted to give you a little bit background before we move further. So Corinthians, I want to read that with you before we go through. I believe we will go through this pretty fast, but I just want to bring back the scripture that we talked about a few months, a couple of weeks ago. Seems like it's been months since I've been up here, but it was only a couple of weeks ago. And this is what brought us here. Paul said this. He says that in verse 4, he says, for the weapons of your warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. So he says, cast down your imaginations, and every high thing, every thought that will exalt itself against you knowing who you are. I'm paraphrasing. So it's saying, I need you to know that the weapons of your warfare, in order for you and I to get past those things, they're mighty. In other words, you can get over it. Just tell your neighbor, you can get over it. It's going to take a minute sometimes, but just tell your neighbor, you can get over it. And so what happens is, in getting over it, though, you got to understand you have what is need, but there's something that you have to do. You're going to have to take it down. You almost got to be your own best boxer. Like, I know you don't want to sit there and keep knocking yourself all in the face, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you're just going to have to knock yourself out Wow. So that you can hear what God has for you. So I was so as I was continuing in the conversation with my grandsons this morning, I wanted to kind of share with them. So whatever you're filling yourself up with, if it's negative energy, that's what comes out of you. Right. And that's what draws to you. If you're filling yourself up with the fact that nothing ever works out for you, then guess what? That's what's coming out of you, and that's what's going to be drawn to you. But it's really that kind of passive-aggressive behavior, because somehow we're not trusting our inner Lord that has given us permission and have given us opportunity to overcome it. Wow. It's because we choose not to do what is necessary to overcome that thing, right? So if we're sitting around and we're saying, I was sharing that if you are one of those people that curse a lot, and then you kind of listen to a lot of things that cuss a lot, then you would tend to do what? Curse a lot. Right? So what happens is you and I now have to take control over what's going to go inside these cups. What are we going to fill it up? Like, what you going to fill your mind up with? Can I give you an example? So what happened was, David, y'all know David, right? So David decided that he wanted to look at this woman across the road, her name Bathsheba, right? We know this story. And he went over to Bathsheba, and he took her in, and he killed the husband, right? He was pretty drastic, right? I mean, not everybody go around killing other people's husbands and other people's wives, but it does happen. I know my sister have several stories from ID that show you how people go around and kill people, right? So what happened with that situation is the prophet came, gave a word saying that you could have had any woman. Why would you take this young lamb? He called that woman a young lamb. And so later on in 2 Samuel, the scripture talked about is this friend of David. His name is Athiphiel. Wait a minute, I'm gonna get his name. Let me get his name right for y'all, right? Because I'm gonna spell it right. I don't think I even put it up here, but his name is Ahithophel. Ahithopel. Ahithophel. Say that with me. Ahithophel. 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 Right? So this is what happened. Ahithophel became one of David's favorite friends. He was the one that gave David wisdom, and he was the one that, when they heard from this particular guy, they felt that they heard from God. Wow. And he was a man of great wisdom. But what happened with Ahithophel was he was the grandfather of Bathsheba. Can I drop that seed there?
Look at that. Oh, wow.
He was the grandfather of Bathsheba. Wow. So imagine from a grandfather perspective of how this man disrupted the home of your granddaughter. Mm-hmm. How this man allowed, just because he could have it, took this woman unto himself and ruined her life forever. Can I just give you that scenario? Can I just tell you how this man was at the place where he was David's servant. He had to be the one to give David wisdom on how to fight, knowing what David did to his daughter. Can I tell you that there's some passive aggressiveness that's probably in him, because passive-aggressive behavior is you already have an issue with a person, but you never dealt with it. So now you're going to act it out because you never dealt with a situation.
Wow,
Can I just drop that for a moment? Is there anybody that's been in a place that have issues going on and you never dealt with it, and so now you're going out and you're acting it out at some point in your life? So he's sitting there with David, and he's got this issue going on, and he's already upset upset because he took advantage of his granddaughter. And not only did he take advantage of his granddaughter, he now has to serve this same guy. Wow. Imagine when he knew that his granddaughter was well and she had a pretty good husband, right? But David goes around and even kills his husband, whom he's got to look at now and says, how loyal can this man ever be when his best servant, he kills him? Can somebody say amen?
Amen.
Okay.
Wow.
Later on down in the scriptures, what you're going to find out is that, what's his name again? Ahithophel. Ahithophel decided that he was going to partner with Absalom. So do you know the story of Absalom? Absalom is the story where he came in and he... Absalom is the son, right? You understand what happened with the son? The son is upset because his sister was raped and the daddy didn't do anything about it. And so the son now decides, and he's got all of these pent up emotions going on. And so now he decides that he's going to take it out on the daddy by taking his kingdom away. And all of a sudden, what's his name again? Ahithophel decides he's going to go with Absalom because guess what? Now he understands this is my opportunity because I never liked him for what he did from the beginning. Is anybody in this place that's been in situations where you saw what the person did to you, you understand, but you just sit back, lying in wait, seeing how you can come against them. You laying waiting to see when the best opportunity. A passive aggressive behavior won't allow you to come at them, but you're going to start doing things that's going to make their life uncomfortable. Can somebody say amen?
Amen. Wow. Oh, this is good. Wow.
So what's his name again?
Ahithophel.
So Ahithophel decided that he was going to team up with Absalom. Ahithophel also decided that when there was a word that David was on the run and Absalom took all of his wives, it was Ahithophel that told Absalom rape all of them out in the open.
Jesus. That was him?
It was Ahithophel that decided deep down on the inside that the trauma that I experienced earlier in my life, at some point I'm going to get you back. And many relationships don't seem to work out these days because people are acting out a trauma or a traumatic event that happened very early in their life, and now they're saying, I'm going to get you back. But the person that they're trying to get back is not necessarily who they're with, but it's who's... So it's really about somebody else. I'm mad at you because I can take it out on you, but it really isn't about you. I'm mad at my mama because my mama should have been there. I'm mad at my daddy because my daddy should have been there. I'm mad at that old husband that shouldn't have taken advantage of me. So you want to get everything. It's called passive aggressive.
Wow.
Personality.
Jesus. Amen.
And so now Ahithophel decided that he was going to give Absalom these words. Absalom asked him, should I go up against David? And he said, yeah, you better attack him right now. David, along the way, found out what Ahithophel was doing. So he sent one of his boys out to kind of change the narrative. And so when Ahithophel figured out that David's boy got in Absalom's head and changed the direction of what was getting ready to happen, Ahithophel said this. He says, well, because I went against the king, the scripture says he went out and hung himself. How many of you know that Judas was not the only person in the scripture that hung themselves? Ahithophel figured like, oh my God, I done messed up now. So I'm going to go out here and I'm going to go ahead and take my life because I already know that the king is coming against me. How many of you know that when you live in that narrative of what was, when you stay in the traumatic situation, you do things that's going to cut your life short. When I say cut your life short, you might not physically be gone, but you are physically keeping yourself from moving forward. Can somebody say amen? Have you been